UFC Fight Night in Atlanta was a card that, to be honest, it didn't live up to its hype. Excluding some actually good fights, the whole card was pretty mid. We had some very interesting moments with an Oscar worthy acting performance. But we also saw Prime Usman coming back and exposing Buckley, especially with those takedowns and on the ground. But anyway, guys, let's break down the fights and see how we did on our picks, starting with Jamie Lynn Horth and Vanessa Demopoulos. Here we saw a banger of a fight. I freaking called it. Horth was going to piece up Demopoulos through all three rounds. The second round was the best for Demopoulos. She had some nice moments in there, but the most significant one was that right hand that she landed. But besides that, she didn't really have much going for her in this fight. Jamie Lynn Horth looked amazing. Her striking was on point. She landed with precision, and she controlled the range very well. But overall, pretty fun fight to watch. Both Shrimp and I got this pick correct. This put us at 1-0 for the night. Anyway, guys, moving on to the next fight, we got Phil Rowe going up against Angel Lusa. Philip Rowe and Angel Lusa, these guys had a freaking scrap. This is a very fun fight to watch. It was very back and forth. This was another banger. Angel Lusa started out pretty slow, with him smudge wrestling Phil Rowe throughout that first round. But the second and third round were bangers, man, with both fighters landing. And I didn't know who was going to win, to be honest, because it was going back and forth until eventually Phil Rowe outlasted Angel Lusa. He got tired, and Phil Rowe got his TKO win. But man, Shrimp called it. He said it was going to be a KO win by Philip Rowe, and that's exactly what happened. This put me at 1-1 for the night, and it put Shrimp at 2-0. But yeah, guys, moving on to the third fight of the night. This was supposed to be Ricky Simon versus Charles Jourdain. So we didn't really have a prediction on this because Charles Jourdain pulled out not very last minute, but he pulled out like a few days before. Cameron Smotherman took this fight on a short notice. Dude, he got freaking smothered, man. Simon just out grappled him everywhere. Smotherman was having some moments towards the end of the fight, but it was already too late. This fight pretty much went the same way that his last fight went, where he started picking up his striking towards the end of the fight, which is not very good. He's probably going to be out of the UFC after this. He needs to go back to the regional scene, get back his confidence, get some wins put together. But Ricky Simon did pretty good. He wasn't letting Cameron Smotherman do anything at all. But he got a nice decision win here. He's back on a win streak after beating Bastra and now Cameron Smotherman. He's on a little 2-fight win streak. And originally we had Ricky Simon winning, but like I said, Charles Jourdain pulled out. So we're just going to call this as a no prediction, guys. All right, so moving on to the next fight, we had Cody Durden going up against Jose Ochoa. Both Shrimp and I got this pick correct, and I think we both said by KO. Ochoa looked pretty good in this fight. He was mixing his strikes perfectly, and he was landing some nasty combos, man. Like a wise YouTuber says, he's a tricky customer. But he was getting a little careless towards the end of the first. He even got knocked down. But Durden's a dog, man. He was scrapping it out, and he wasn't giving up either. The first round was just tough to score. But like I said, Cody Durden, pretty tough. But Jose Ochoa landed that nasty left hand to KO Cody Durden. That left hand was just so clean. I don't think anyone would have been able to take that shot. So props to Cody, though. He did pretty well, all things considered, but nice one for Jose Ochoa. I knew this kid was good. That loss to Lonnie Kavanaugh was not bad at all, and he proved me right in this fight. Sweet. Moving on to the next fight, and probably one of the most anticipated fights of the prelims, Malcolm Wallmaker and Chris Moutinho. Again, man, even freaking Shrimp and I called it. We both got this pick correct. This was pretty much a layup win for Malcolm Wallmaker. This guy did it again, man. Another walk-off KO with a nasty check hook, man. He put him straight to sleep. Dude, this kid is the real deal. Malcolm Wellmaker is turning into my Joshua Van, like for Ivan, you know? This guy's my, let me tell you about this kid. I feel bad for Moutinho, though. He kept getting put up against killers. I mean, his last fight that he had in the UFC was like against the freaking 42-year-old, which didn't look too good. But yeah, like you said, this was going to be a layup fight for him from the very beginning, and we all freaking knew it. We were just waiting for that left hook to land, and eventually did. But it was so clean, man. That fake leg kick that Chris Moutinho freaking bit opened up the shot for Malcolm Waymaker that put him to sleep. But I'm excited for this kid. This guy's gonna go far, and we'll see how far this kid gets. But anyway, guys, moving on to the next fight, we got a boring ass fight between Michael Chiesa and Court McGee. These unks, man, they both look very freaking slow. It was very low output through the whole fight. It was a very close first and second round. Pretty hard to score, to be honest. Nothing too crazy from these unks. But the third round was mostly all of Chiesa, and which was crazy to me. This fight did not spend any time whatsoever on the ground. There was a little bit of clinch time, but nothing on the ground, which was crazy. Court McGee tried to land some takedowns, but he wasn't able to get any of them. Michael Chiesa was stuffing them all. But good win for him, I guess. He's on a 3 fight win streak now, but it's been all against his fellow unks. We'll see how he does against the younger guy. That's probably who's going to be facing next. As for Core McGee, probably retire. I don't see him on another fight anymore. But yeah, guys, we both got this pick correct. This put me at 4-1, and it put Shrimp at 5-0. Dude, he almost swept. Well, he technically swept the prelims because the next fight, man, is I don't even know what the hell that was. This was probably the weirdest end of a fight I've ever seen. Paul Craig versus Rodolfo Bellato. Rodolfo Bellato was pretty much winning the fight, but I don't know if Bellato deserves an Oscar or not. And I don't know if it was acting or not, but he got hit with an illegal up kick, and he kind of looked at the ref, but then completely passed out, I guess. And then once he regained consciousness, he was scared for his life. He thought he was being finished on the ground by the ref. Either that was crazy acting or it actually did happen that he got KO'd and he was scared for his life. But regardless, weirdest end of a fight ever. Freaking Bellato is the weirdest fighter I've ever seen. This is his second, the other one was a draw. Then he had to pull out because of an STD. And now it was a no contest because of an accidental foul. Man, Rodolfo Bellato, dude, he's been on a generational run, okay? No, I'm just kidding. But I don't know, man. I don't know what the hell this was. But I feel bad for both of these fighters because they couldn't. Actually, you know what? This fight is cursed, man. Hopefully, they don't. I don't want them to schedule this fight. I don't want them to be near each other because maybe a catastrophe will happen if these guys fight again. But anyway, that pretty much concluded the prelims. Moving on to the first fight of the main card, we got Alonso Manifield going up against Demar Sy. Another boring ass fight, another fight with low output, and then another decision win. Alonso Manifield pulled a nice underdog win over Umar Sy. Both Shrimp and I got this pick incorrect. I don't really want to break this fight down because it was kind of boring. The only thing I'm going to say is Sy tried to kickbox to that first round. He moved to his wrestling in the second, but Manifield was landing some nice strikes in the first. But this fight was a stinker overall, man. But anyway, guys, like I said, I don't really want to talk about this fight. Boring as hell. Moving on to the next fight between Mansour Abdul Malik going up against Cody Brundage. This is another weird finish. It was a technical decision win for Abdul Malik because of an accidental head clash. But both look decent, man. It was a kind of a slow start, but they kind of started picking it up. Second round was kind of slow as well, but Abdul Malik had the better moments as well. And then that third round started crazy, man. They started freaking swinging for the fences. But the unfortunate head clash, which led to Abdul getting his TKO win. Well, it was a technical decision, but I call it a TKO win. But yeah, nice win for Abdul Malik. Cody Brundage, not the greatest fighter in the UFC, but he looked decently okay in this fight. Shrimp and I both got this pick correct. This put him at 6-1, and that put me at 5-2. I did freaking horrible for picks last night. But anyway, guys, moving on to the next fight, we got Cody Garbrandt versus Raoni Barcelos. Dude, the first round was the best round out of the fight, but after that, it slowed down pretty bad. Cody was stuffing all of Barcelos' takedowns. The only thing that Barcelos did in that first round was landing a nice knee to the face, which cut Cody. The second round was better for him because Cody slowed down. And the third round was pretty close. Looked like Barcelos was going to keep Cody on the ground, but Cody was able to scramble out and take it back to the feet, but he just couldn't do enough. This guy's just probably retired, to be honest. He looked pretty slow after all those injuries that he's gone through. I still freaking hate this guy, man. I still freaking hate Barcelos, dude. I don't know how he keeps managing to get more wins, but I guess he's the real deal, I guess. I don't think he's going to go far. I'm probably just being a hater, but it is what it is, guys. Both Shrimp and I got this pick incorrect. Put him at 6-2 and put me at 5-3. But anyway, guys, moving on to the next fight between Edmen Shahbazyan and Andrei Petrovsky. Bro, we had so many freaking slow fights in this card, man. This is what I was saying. It was a mid card. Edmen looked way better, especially with his takedown defense. He was stuffing some of those takedowns, and he was looking pretty freaking clean in this on the feet. But like I said, very low output fight. There's not really much to break down this fight because it was pretty slow. Both these guys weren't landing anything through the first and second. Started kind of picking up in the third, but I didn't really watch the third because I was making my way back home. But anyway, guys. We both got this pick correct. I think both Shrimp and I thought this was going to be a KO win for Edmen Shahbazyan, but it ended up with decision win. This put me at 6-3, and it put Shrimp at 7-2. Anyway, moving on to the co-main event of the evening, probably one of the best fights of the night. It was a pretty good fight. Both of these ladies had their moments. It was a pretty competitive fight as well. The first round was pretty close. Rose pressured starting the round, but then Maverick started picking it up. towards the end, and she put a pretty fast paced as the fight went on, as the round went on. I mean, but Rose Namajunas, man, she was picking her shots very well. She was being very clean and very responsible on the feet. The second round was very entertaining with some really fun grappling. We got to see some reversals, some very close submissions, but none of them were able to tie anything up. And in the third, it was another pretty close round. Rose Namajunas, she got a nice knockdown at the end there, and then she kind of had Miranda Maverick in a pretty bad position. She was able to get out of it, but Miranda Maverick wasn't able to do enough. This is my underdog pick. This is my hardcore underdog pick of the night. I got this pick incorrect. Ivan got it correct. But Miranda Maverick, man, she looked pretty decent. She just couldn't do enough to Rose Namajunas on the feet. I think Miranda Maverick did outland Rose Namajunas 52 total strikes to 46. But Rose Namajunas had the better moments with that knockdown, and she got some pretty clean takedowns. But yeah, good win for Rose. I can probably see Rose Namajunas fighting Alexa Grasso next. Rose coming off a win, Alexa coming off a loss. But anyway, guys, moving on to the main event of the evening, we got Kamaru Usman going up against Joaquin Buckley. Kamaru Usman with a dominant decision win here. We got to see Prime Usman back in business, and he exposed Buckley, man, especially on the ground with those takedowns. Kamaru Usman got one takedown per round, except at the end there, where Joaquin Buckley, I don't know, where was stuffing every of Kamaru Usman's takedowns, which I don't know why he didn't do that towards the beginning of the fight, but it is what it is. Kamaru Usman, like I said, dominated him. 137 total strikes to Joaquin Buckley's 51. Kamaru Usman was just doing too much damage on the ground. He had 13 minutes of control time, man. That's freaking crazy. But Kamaru Usman kind of looked scared towards the end of that fifth round where Joaquin Buckley was kind of pressuring him on the feet, and he was landing some pretty good strikes, but nothing enough to beat Usman or to knock him out. Joaquin Buckley, I saw this guy's pretty good. He just got to fix a couple of things that aren't too hard to fix, especially his takedown defense. And he needs to learn how to get up when he's on his back, man. That's one thing that he's going to need to freaking practice over and over and over. But amazing win for Kamaru Usman. Like I said, pretty dominant win. I'm seeing here the judges, two of them scored it 49-46, which is like the correct score. But there's a judge that scored it 48-47. I don't know what that guy was smoking, but I don't want it. 48-47 is crazy, dude. I was even leaning towards a 50-45, but 48-47 is crazy. But anyway, guys, both Shrimp and I got this pick incorrect. This put me at 6-5 for the night, man. My picks were so bad for this card. But we'll be back for the next one. And Shrimp ended up at 8-3. He beat me in this card. Sweet, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to my video. Like I said, sorry for the quality. It's gonna be a little less than normal because I'm on like a vacation kind of. So yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video. It's gonna be a breakdown for the Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree reschedule fight in Baku. And thank you guys so much for watching. Adios.